you, Lord Mayor. The first speech I made in this council chamber when I came in was against restrictions on legal aid for people seeking asylum, so I'm pleased to make a contribution in this debate and talk about some of the work that we're currently doing. But I'll take you back to a quick tour of the Drummond's Mill boardroom before it burnt down. There was a story of the Selker family. The Selker family were a Jewish family that escaped from the Sudetenland just ahead of the takeover by the Nazis and the concentration camps that followed. They saved that company and turned it around into a successful organisation. And there is a theme that runs through here of the benefits that you get through embracing, supporting and developing your work with refugees. My father did 2 years English Electric in Thornbury in the 50s, and he worked alongside refugees. They were from Ukraine, Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania. They had escaped the gulags of Stalin because they got caught in the wrong part of Europe at the end of the Second World War. In 1956, we welcomed people, again there's a recurring theme of ideological tyranny here, when Stalin oppressed the people of Hungary in the uprising, and a man called Ralph Kubitschek, subsequently stood for labouring Whigs, and he didn't win. But we have that history. And 2 years ago, I was lucky to have a holiday in the Czech Republic, and Jill and I went to Prague to see the statue to Nicholas Winton. Incredibly moving, but friends of mine's parents were Kinder Transport refugees, and they were housed in Manningham, just along from where I now work. And we then go to the Kosovars, who came to escape another tyrannical regime of Milosevic, cheered on by a man who was briefly the MP for Bradford West, but we'll leave that to one side. The Kosovars, and then we had the Bosniaks, and we know what happened at Srebrenica, and again, ideological tyranny was the issue there. And then my good friend, Councillor Green, who's no longer a councillor, but hopefully he will see this, when he was leader, we were the first to welcome people from Aleppo. And I will never forget listening to some of those people who come from Aleppo, the fear of a barrel bomb being dropped on your house, being literally annihilated because you had dared to challenge a regime that has killed more people in the Middle East than any other and is now mercifully gone. And the Kosovars, when the UN intervention took place, they went home. The Syrian people are looking to go home. There are all sorts of myths about refugees. But getting back to my colleagues' points about what we are doing, there is excellent work being done by Bevan Healthcare to work and do the trauma-informed care. There's a wonderful organisation called Solace that is delivering trauma-informed care to the families. We have, through some officers in the Education Access team, working on better pathways to make sure that children are supported to convenient and supportive and nurturing educational environments that can embrace their families. But there's still more that we could do. Why is it that skilled people are not allowed to work? I don't understand that myself as well. There is more to be done with the housing and the support, but the Schools of Sanctuary movement in Bradford is a fantastic organisation that is delivering to much of what you're talking about in terms of that agenda. And I'm working with some of those young people. I've always worked with some of those young people. My father was involved in the folk music movement, and in and around the folk music movement were refugees from all over the world, including South Africa and other places. It was in my upbringing, and it's in the upbringing of many people, that sanctuary, when faced with the tyranny that people are facing now, perhaps we ought to look at how that tyranny, took root and why we didn't do very much about it. But Bradford has that proud history. It's something that should unite us. Those needs continue, but look at what's been achieved by some of the people that have come to the city to turn that around. Do the Jewish history tour, do some of the other history about what some of those refugee communities have brought to this city and made it what it is. We want to make a better world, but we have a duty to embrace, learn and support these people in our city, and I'm proud that this is the second speech I've made in 32 years on the same subject.